someone enlivened by the conversation of the woman about wanting the sign of the universe of a fox and then finding one, doesn't have any idea where it came from, standing right on the roof of her house. Extraordinary response, quick and fast from the universe. You could say a bit surprising, but not really. It must be expected in order for you to rendezvous with it. And so this person decided that something like that would be fun to play with. So I made a list of 3 things, recalling seeing a YouTube video where we had talked about Esther and her friends making a list of 20 things that they had some interest in but no resistance to. Not things that they were desperate to achieve or to see, but just things that they had an interest in, things that they felt interest without resistance. So they made their list and moved around the city of San Diego from one end of it to the other, a 50-mile radius, at least, in the north to south direction, and just allowed the universe to deliver to them their list, their combined collective list. And so this person who we are describing, writing into us, made such a list, put 3 things on it. And during the day, in making the list, didn't see the 3 things. Felt a little disappointment at not seeing the 3 things, which is a little bit of an indication of trying too hard. While the 3 things might not have been that important, the proving self to self, about self, was sort of in the mix. That day, nothing seen. One of the things was a big yellow balloon. And so this person slept, woke up next morning on a highway, en route, saw off on the horizon the most incredible rising sun. And because of the way the atmosphere was, because of the direction of the vehicle in proximity to where the sun was coming up, it appeared this very fast moving yellow balloon rising quickly right before him. Now, the reason that we're taking so much time on the telling of this watching for a sign and the emotional attitude in finding the expectation that's just right is because it's easy for you humans, we love you so much, to advocate or to explain against yourself with statements such as, well, duh, the sun comes up every morning, so how hard is that? That's not a very good sign. Or someone choosing a butterfly or a hummingbird or even a fox. They're everywhere. Or where they are. And the expectation of many of those things, Abraham, is not that surprising. We get that. But do not argue for your limitations. Instead, hear us when we say, everything is around you all the time. There are signs everywhere to support your desires. There is money ready for you to receive it. There's a lover right around every corner. There are answers to every question and solutions to every problem, and they are raining down around you. But you don't always expect that. And so this unique rendezvousing with that sun that looked like that morning, never talk yourself out of understanding that that was a deal that you made with your inner being, and that you kept your partnership in the deal by being in a receptive mode. One day, Jerry and Esther were driving. Esther was driving, traveling in the monster bus. Esther called it a monster bus because it was a monster of a thing. So blissful and fun and pleasant. And they're driving through St. Louis. And when Esther realized what city they were approaching, she got all excited and she said to Jerry, "This is where that magnificent arch is. I'm so excited to see that." And Jerry said, "Honey, we're not on that road that's going to take us down past that part of the city. We aren't on the road to see the arch. We can go though," he said. "We can detour and we can do it if you really care about seeing it." And Esther said, "It's all right," because they had timed their route. Didn't want to be in the dark before they were parking the monster bus at the other end. And Esther said, "It's all right. I'll just see it in my mind's eye, and we can plan to go see it next time we come this way." And so she drove the outer loop of the city and hooked up with her next highway. And all of a sudden she looked up and saw a rainbow. A rainbow that was not shaped like rainbows are supposed to be shaped. Because of its proximity and its angle, it looked like that very small arch, that arch with the kink right at the top, not like a rainbow arch, but like the arch that Esther wanted to see. And then she heard us say to her, "We can do arches." Now that's a very explicit experience from the point of view of someone often in alignment. Not always in alignment, often in alignment. But the most important part of any story that we tell you about Esther like that is that she is in a place of expecting unique, personal rendezvous with things that matter to her, that even though those things are abundant on the planet, she knows that this one, in this moment in time, was uniquely offered for her personal reception. We promise you, there was not another person in the vicinity of that rainbow that saw it as Esther saw it. The direction of her bus, the timing of when the rainbow appeared, the sun in proximity, the moisture in the air, the vantage point of the bus, and Esther's love of arches and absence of resistance about not getting to see her arch today. What we want for you, for all of you, is a practiced and found on a regular basis moment in time where you are expecting your sign, your answer, your clue, your remedy, your response, your solution, your answer. That's what we talk about all day, every day. That is our message to you. You getting ready to receive what you are asking for. Practice that. The majority of the emails that you write to us indicate to us that you don't really get that. It's almost as if you believe that your answers are being rained down and others are getting them. Others don't get your signs, only you do. Don't talk yourself out of believing. Another person wrote about knowing someone, pandemic, meeting them, liking them, enjoying them, texting them, having conversations with them, losing contact with them, then rendezvousing again, and coming to the fresh activation of, this is a person that I would really like to get to know better. Activated in the creation box, activated in the vortex. In other words, desire in place. Step 1 already happened. And step 2, always in the process of an answer, 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 an answer. Here's your answer, here's your answer, here's your answer, here's your answer, here's your answer. Where are you on your path of least resistance? Down there on the lower half of the scale where you've got so much resistance that you're not following this clue or following this clue? So this person is traveling in another city, checks into a hotel, and as they're walking into their room, look down the hallway, and guess who is checking into the room 2 doors down? That person. Pretty good sign, don't you think? And then waiting to see what else happens. So here the universe has delivered to you within 2 doors of where you are something that you've been asking for. And yet there is still a reluctance to let it in, even though it's that vivid and that close and that obvious in your experience. Doesn't that speak to a high level of not letting in what I'm asking for? And we're asking you, for what reason? Why are you not letting in what's nearly knocking on your door? This person even went on to say that there were other people that were traveling in the same group that were recognized, and that person actually put a key in her door accidentally. In other words, if you're not aware, if you haven't established a relationship, if you haven't come to these decisions, awarenesses and decisions, all right, I'm asking and it's been given, and there's a path of least resistance, and I can figure out how to follow it. And I can watch for and feel for emotional manifestational and other manifestational clues along the way. And my work is to get so good at following that path that I have absence of doubt when my clue gets within 2 doors of mine. Or even someone who knows my someone is trying to get into my room accidentally. We're not making fun of you at all. We're using your magnificent written presentation to us as an opportunity to say to everyone listening in here, you're missing the clues all over the place. And it's not because they're not for you. And it's not because they're not obvious, and it's not because they're not real and that you should argue for them. Everybody gets to see the sun come up. They are your clues to what you're asking for. The only question is, where are you in the expectation vicinity? Do you feel blessed, or do you feel forgotten? I don't even dare think that this is something real for me. Why not? Why would you not think that in every moment of every day there are real clues coming from your inner being who adores you and knows what you want and where you are in proximity to it? Clue, 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 clue. Look over there, look over there, look over there. Come this way, come this way, come this way. Nope, the sun comes up for everyone. Not really a yellow balloon, it's just the sun. I'm grasping at straws to try to believe that that rendezvous was for me. We really enjoyed this conversation. It's a conversation that answers the majority of what was sent in for these conversations in these 2 hours. Let's see another video.